Welcome, everybody, to Built by Builders. This is a conversation video series we've created highlighting construction professionals who have started tech companies that provide solutions for the construction industry, but having come from the construction industry. And we think that's a really unique value proposition to have solutions created by the very people that experienced all of these pain points firsthand throughout their career. So it's great to have Chris Callen, of the CEO and founder of Plot, with us today. And Chris, you come from a concrete contracting company. So as early as being a kid, all the way up through some of the other construction tech solutions you've created. Tell us a little bit more about Plot and the idea behind Plot.
Pleasure to be on with you today. Thanks for the opportunity. My background really started at birth. I was in the way I phrase it is I was involuntarily involved at a young age. I've always been around construction. When I played baseball, my family company sponsored the team, so it's always been around me. So naturally, I rebelled and got into technology, and that was about as far away as I thought I could go at that time. I got out in the real world and recognized that there was this really unique connection of construction and technology. Launched a first company that had a very powerful piece of technology, but just doesn't really connect with today's job sites, or at least not the majority of them, and learned a lot from that experience. And we launched Plot, which was primarily focused on how do we make something that solves an immediate need for those in the job trailer. So, people often say connecting field to office, making all this pre-construction, these financial connection points. Really, where we focus is just making the lives easier for the subcontractor foreman, the general contractor superintendent, and the delivery drivers that are all setting boots on the ground at the job site, really automating a lot of the workflows that are well beneath their ability and beneath their pay grade. Get them back to real work. And that's really what Plot initially focused on: is what is the nonsense text messages and phone calls and even the unnecessary meetings that are being had to just manage where's this truck going to unload, who's going to dedicate the time at that tower crane or the skip hoist to make sure that we have an efficient workflow on our job site, that people know where they're going, and we can once again focus on the actual problem solving that our people in the field are so experienced in, and what we really value them for. I think the focus of ConCntric is obviously focused in pre-construction. We're really focused in construction. I guess the thing that I'm interested to hear from you, Steve, is how do you see the technology that is in use today and that coming out? I mean, what do you think is going to be the major impact over the next 5 to 10 years? How do you see it evolving from where we are today?
What Plot's doing, and just seeing firsthand just the manual efforts that the on-site folks have to go through just to coordinate and bring all of this basically in through one door. It always made me just scratch my head. Why aren't we using more technology and doing things that really take that
Yeah.
that load off of people and let them do what they do best? And I think both of our platforms as see it as augmenting all of the talent
Yeah.
that's out there. That I think it's unfortunate outsiders and the people want to characterize our industry as antiquated and backwards, as if that's how the individuals are. But we've got a tremendous amount of talent doing things that they really know how to do well, but they have both hands tied behind their back because things are just having to move so much faster these days than they ever did. And if we can augment and supplement all of this talent with technology that's just taking kind of that load off of them, and then doing amazing things with the data that helps them think even further down the line, or in different dimensions, if you will. I think the industry is just going to benefit as a whole. More rapidly, I think people are starting to see the value of their data and the need to put it to work. They just don't know how. And
Yeah.
it's not the builder, it's not the contractor's core competence to build software. It's not even their core competence to manipulate point solutions and migrating data. So I think it's essential for, companies like ours and people with our backgrounds to come in and really we know what the issues are, and we also know how to, build that machine to serve us better. Tell us a little bit more about how you see technology augmenting the folks in the field, particularly with the use of what Plot, is solving.
I love this conversation, this question. It comes up quite often. I think there's a phrase that I'll butcher, and I apologize to whoever I'm quoting. But if you judge an elephant's ability to climb a tree, you would consider him a failure. We have had so many decades of best practices and craftsmanship and all of this training that is so difficult to share and educate and move throughout the industry, that it takes all of the focus of our trades craftsmen to even just put pieces in place and to build better buildings than ever before, more complex, more sufficient, more sustainable. And we have often oversold technology as a solution to these pain points. And I think that is on the software industry. We need to own that, and we need to empathize a little bit more with what our solutions have lacked in the past, and make it something that is very practical and pragmatic for their workflows today. And that's really where Plot sits. We don't go and say we're going to solve everything. We're not going to go in there and reduce something by 90% like we see on a lot of marketing websites. I think some of that has a lot of validity to it. But what it really comes down to is we can take your focus off of these mundane activities that take up a lot of time. We can focus them on the things that you really need to focus on, and all the while building a great data set that allows those not necessarily at the work phase to be able to educate their pre-construction, the design teams, to make something that is easier to install, so that we can really focus on putting pieces in place quicker. And that really comes down to how do we make something that is easy to adopt. And I'm really curious to hear just from you, what have you seen as adoption of ConCntric, but also just technology in general in the industry, and what are the major hurdles that you have overcome or are looking to still work on?
I think the adoption and the cycle it takes for people to understand it, grab it, use it, fall in love with it, it takes longer than maybe other industries. But I think that
Hmm.
might be a case of whatever software has been developed to date largely has been developed by outsiders, and they're trying to solve things in ways that don't exactly apply to the problem at hand. And so again, folks like you and me and others that are coming from within the industry, and I think can do a better job, more complete, more kind of in tuned job to address the true pain point and the way that the industry, the construction folks, the pre-construction folks, how they're doing their work. So that way it's a much more natural fit. Certainly has helped. I think things have been going, and we've been very well received in the short period of time that we've been out there, simply because we are addressing the problem in the way that our customers have always wanted it to be addressed. And so I
Right.
think there's a natural fit there. Speaking of, being in tune with the current needs and shaping the platform, you've just recently rolled out a lead time module, which has everything to do with a lot of the supply chain pain points and,
Yeah.
getting things delivered on time. Tell us a little bit about the new module that you've rolled out.
Yeah, so the new module really focuses on the gap between submittal approval process, product data submission and approval from the design team to the actual delivery on the site. In similar fashion as our other tools, we're not really attacking this whole procurement process. That's not what we aim to build, because we think that that's a big, big problem that might have an overbuilt solution. We're really focusing on keeping the subcontractors informed with some very simple interfaces, even automated emails, even automated where, send stuff to where they live type thing, rather than trying to get them to adopt a new workflow. So it's really just trying to get subcontractors in tune with, okay, submittals approved. Are you making the ordering in time? Do you have a realistic lead time in input into the system, and then tracking that actual order to make sure that that material is going to show up in time for the installation activity, and making sure that that submittal, that ordering connects to your CPM schedule, so that you can have, once again, data connectivity, so that you're not working in these individual silos of quote unquote point solutions, but having a tool that speaks before the process and connects afterwards.
That's huge. That's huge. Well, congratulations. You guys,
Thank you.
I've known you before you started Plot, and been watching Plot grow, and you just announced your $2 million raise. So the future is bright, and it's impressive to see how much you guys are building and growing and serving the needs of the industry, so rapidly. So
Greatly appreciate it. And it's been exciting to watch your progress as well.
I appreciate you being a partner here in this Built by Builders series, and appreciate your friendship, Chris. So great talking to you today.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. We'll see you.